What's going on? Now, I know it's been a little bit since I've been on here, but yeah, today we're gonna be talking about a creature feature finally, and a big name one is, in fact, this film got a lot of flack though when it first came out, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But today we're gonna be talking about the 1998 American version of Godzilla. So yeah, the first attempt at the big lizard, yeah, Godzilla. It was released by TriStar Pictures May 20th, 1998, and it was produced and co-written by Dean Devlin and co-written and directed by Ronald Emmerich, who a lot of people you'll probably know a lot of. He's done like a lot of big budget films such as like Independence Day and Independence Day Resurgence, The Day After Tomorrow, Midway, also 2112, to name a few. Yeah, this had a box office earning of $379 million, and apparently it was rumored to cost about $170 million because a lot of this was new state of the art stuff, that special effects stuff that at the time, and they're trying to compete with the overwhelming success of the Jurassic Park franchise and stuff. So, yeah, so they were hoping this would be a big break into that. So, Godzilla, the American version. So, well, for the most part, it's quite different than your typical kaiju Godzilla films. Yeah, a lot of you either love this movie or hate it. I find now the acting's really iffy in this film. There's a lot of terrible dialogue and stuff, and a lot of cheesy lines. Yeah, but the American, it's your typical creature feature for the most part of this film. You have your typical something's come on land, and something's been awoken from nuclear war and stuff, and it's finally coming on land for some reason. They're not sure what. They find big footprints. You find a lot of evidence of a big creature, unknown species roaming around. The scientists are trying to find it, and sure enough, this big lizard thing comes and starts destroying New York, and it's a whole lot of destruction, carnage, and everything as this big lizard-like creature moves about New York, and it's up to the scientists to figure out why. And yeah, so the first half is your typical big monster type film where it's like a lot of destruction, a lot of good fun time and stuff, and then it gets more into like the reasoning of why it's coming on, which kind of pissed a lot of fans off of the original Godzilla films, and yeah, I can see why. But yeah, so yeah, but once you realize, spoiler. By the way, I'm probably gonna go into spoilers. If you haven't seen it, you don't want it spoiled, you're warned. But yeah, anyways, yeah. So, but then they slowly realize that it's what's that term? Asexual or something? One where it can produce offspring on its own. And so, yeah, Godzilla gives birth to a whole pile of eggs, and yeah, it's actually nesting. That's the reason why he came to destroy New York, find a nice nesting ground for its eggs. And yeah, then she's more into Jurassic Park with the little raptors looking cute. Baby Godzilla's running around and stuff. Yeah, so for the most part, I have a soft spot for this film. I love this film when I was a kid. I still enjoy it now, even though a lot of it's really stupid and retarded and dumb and just like why. But yeah, so but for the most part, special effects are great. Even with the CGI, like the 90s version of CGI, still somewhat holds up on Blu-ray and stuff. I was pretty impressed with that, and it still looks better than half the junk that comes out now, I find. So yeah, so I was pretty pleased with that. It does look way better for the first half of the film because the way the lizard, like Godzilla, walks and stuff like that, and you see like the big full like running through the city CG stuff. It still somewhat holds up. It's not as cartoony as some of the other stuff that's come out. Yeah, I always like to point things like that out because CGI is the most cheapest looking thing after 2 years, unless it's done somewhat correctly. But yeah, so yeah, the Godzilla creature, I like the new form and stuff. Even Toho, the company that made it, had to sign off for it. And yeah, they are like, you know what? You're going to make the American Godzilla? Go for it. we're gonna keep the traditional Godzilla. Yeah, so they just signed off on the look of it, and yeah, but they did tell the filmmakers that they had a rule book to follow. Godzilla can't eat people, he can't die, and he must be born out of a nuclear problem, and help save the city somehow. But yeah, so somewhat they followed that. I think Godzilla actually does eat a human or two in this, but yeah. So they broke that rule. But yeah, and there's some nuclear reason that's very loose at the beginning, and that's somewhat done, and they sort of kill it off in a way, which was kind of disappointing. But yeah, so it kind of broke the rules a bit, but yeah. The acting in this film is actually, like I said, pretty cheesy, pretty dumb. Clearly, the filmmakers love The Simpsons because half the voice actors are in this. Like, you can definitely tell the head news anchor, boss guy in this is the voice of Kent Brockman and a couple other characters and stuff. You can definitely do that. The up and coming reporter chick was terrible. She's one of the worst actors in this. Same with the lead, who was Matthew Broderick. He's delivers some of the worst dialogue you could ever see in movies. There's even B movie films out there that have way more substance to their acting than his in this. Yeah, but yeah, there's quite a few interesting aspects to it. The filmmakers hate Siskel and Ebert, so they put them as cameo, like have sort of like mock versions of them in it, which is amusing to watch. Yeah, and yeah. Overall, though, I do like the new like how they try to go a different route than your typical Godzilla. Because like at this point, when this one came out, there's like 15 Godzilla films made by Toho, and then they're like, we're gonna do something a little bit different, make it more our own. But I guess Godzilla fans didn't want that. They wanted to see Godzilla fight other monsters and stuff like that, instead of having a big destructive force just going around and breaking things just because it's pregnant. Yeah, but the new changes were good, I thought, and for the most part, it's still fun, enjoyable popcorn flick. As with some like not so good acting and some pretty cheesy lines writing involved, but yeah, it's still a fun time. So I'm gonna give Godzilla 1998 a 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, it's quite fun to go and watch stuff like that back, even though I admired it a lot when I was a kid and stuff. So yeah, if you haven't seen this, there's a link down below, like always, and also my Instagram's always linked down below. I always post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my story, and I usually have the film title and the subgenre of film and hashtags in the film clip. So make sure you follow me on Instagram to stay in the loop and see what's coming up next and stuff. Make sure you like this video, share it so more people are aware of it. Yeah. Comment your opinions of the film down below. Let me know if you think I should start reviewing the other Godzilla films or not. The new American ones and even the Toho ones. I might even go into that. But for now, this is just going to be like a one-off one. I just really want to talk about this one. So, yeah. But let me know that in the comments. Let me know your favorite Godzilla film in the comments. And also, if you have any other films, whether they're monster films, horror films, sci-fi, any subgenre film at all that you want to hear my opinions on, comment those down below. And I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. And, yeah, make sure you subscribe, because you never know what I'm going to talk about next, which I think might go more into a franchise next, but we'll see how that goes. So, yeah, Godzilla, 1998, fun time if you just want to watch a whole pile of stupid New Yorkers get demolished and killed and by a big giant lizard, and yeah, watch some stupid cheesy dialogue and not so good acting, but it's still a fun time, still better than half the junk that comes out now. So yeah, check it out if you haven't seen it, and watch out for those killer lizards out there roaming your city, and I'll see you all in the next review. Cheers.